Welcome to Inside British Royals. This is your exclusive look inside the world's most famous family. We are exploring the scandals, secrets, and power plays that define the modern monarchy. If you are new here, please do well to hit that subscribe button for more updates. Being born a princess should mean your status is set for life. It's a birthright, especially when you're born into the world's most famous family. For most, that status is a given. But for Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, holding on to it has become a grinding, uphill battle. While they carry the crushing weight of their parents' public scandals, they're now being quietly pushed out of the royal spotlight, raising fears they're on a slow-burn exit from public life. This is the story of their fight for relevance, a fight unfolding in the shadow of their uncle, King Charles III. He's torn between his affection for his nieces and the survival of the monarchy he's determined to streamline. It's a story of loyalty, consequences, and the impossibly delicate balance between family and the firm. Royal Ascot isn't just a horse race. It's the ultimate theater of royal power. For decades, the daily carriage procession has been a very public scoreboard of who's in and who's out. And in June of 2026, two of its most familiar faces will be glaringly absent. Reports confirm that Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have been barred from the royal procession and from attending the event in any official capacity. The decision is a direct result of the endless fallout from their parents' ties to Jeffrey Epstein. It isn't just a social snub. It's a public demotion, a humiliating signal that their place in the family is on shaky ground. Sources claim the sisters were completely blindsided, with Beatrice taking the news especially hard. This one decision is the tipping point of a crisis that's been brewing for decades, and it threatens to define their royal futures for good. So how did it come to this? To really get why the princesses are in such a tough spot, you have to look at their parents. Princess Beatrice, now 37, and Princess Eugenie, 35, have spent their entire lives in the shadow of scandal. Their mother, Sarah Ferguson, the bubbly Fergie, was a constant tabloid fixture, with her money troubles and bad judgment calls making endless headlines. Then there was their father, Prince Andrew. Once a celebrated war hero, he watched his own reputation completely crumble, culminating in a scandal that would forever stain the House of York. The catastrophe, of course, was his connection to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. After a train wreck of a BBC Newsnight interview in 2019, where he showed zero remorse for the friendship or empathy for Epstein's victims, Prince Andrew stepped back from public life. But it didn't end there. In late 2025, after more damaging documents from the Epstein files were released, the man once known as the Duke of York was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. In the aftermath, King Charles made the historic move to formally strip his brother of his royal titles. While it would take an act of parliament to remove the Dukedom of York itself, the palace announced Andrew would no longer be called a prince or use his Royal Highness style in any official way. He was now, simply, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. It was one of the biggest demotions of a senior royal in modern history, a desperate move to cauterize a wound that threatened the whole institution. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the fallout has been devastating. They haven't been accused of any wrongdoing, but the association is toxic. The York name became a heavy burden, one they couldn't just shake off. Royal expert Hilary Fordwich noted they faced an untenable choice between loyalty to their parents and saving their own futures. They're essentially paying the price for sins that aren't their own, forever tied to a scandal that has made their family name synonymous with disgrace. Stuck right in the middle of this mess is their uncle, King Charles, who's caught in an impossible position. On one hand, the king clearly loves his nieces. Royal expert Ingrid Seward noted that Charles feels quite responsible for these two girls because it's been a hideous time for them. We saw this on full display at Christmas in 2025, just months after their father's arrest. While Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were nowhere to be seen during the traditional walk to church at Sandringham, Beatrice and Eugenie were there with their families. Their presence was seen as a public show of loyalty to the king and the crown, a clear signal that they were putting the institution first. But Charles isn't just an uncle. He's a king with a mission. For years, he's pushed for a slimmed-down monarchy, an institution with a core group of working royals instead of a sprawling cast of cousins. The scandals around his brother and the exit of Prince Harry and Meghan have only sped up his plans. This puts Beatrice and Eugenie in a very tricky spot. Every decision about them is weighed on two different scales: his personal, uncle-like desire to protect them, and the cold, institutional logic of his grand vision. The Ascot ban is the most brutal example of this conflict. It's an act of pure risk management, an attempt by the palace to create distance from the Yorks before more damaging news can break. Having the sisters in a royal carriage would just drag the monarchy back into the scandal it's desperate to escape. In the king's eyes, their exclusion probably isn't personal punishment, but a necessary sacrifice for the brand. This creates a strange double standard. They're welcome at a private family Christmas, but barred from the very public spectacle of Ascot. It perfectly illustrates the tightrope they're forced to walk, welcomed in private, but kept at arm's length in public. Even as the door to huge events like Ascot seems to be slamming shut, King Charles has opened a few small windows, offering his nieces a potential middle ground. It looks like a strategy of careful reintegration, letting them serve the monarchy in a limited way without making them full-time, taxpayer-funded working royals. In late 2025, Princess Beatrice was named Deputy Patron of the Outward Bound Trust, a charity close to her late grandfather Prince Philip's heart. Around the same time, Princess Eugenie became a mentor for the King's Foundation's 35 Under 35 network. Royal expert Ingrid Seward called these appointments a very strong signal that the king is determined to embrace his nieces. It lets them do their bit. These new roles build on charity work they were already doing. Beatrice is a patron for organizations like the Teenage Cancer Trust, and in July 2025, she took on another role once held by Prince Philip, becoming the patron of the Chartered College of Teaching. Eugenie co-founded the Anti-Slavery Collective and supports wildlife charities. You can see these appointments as a lifeline. It's a way for Charles to keep his nieces in the royal orbit and acknowledge their desire to help, all while sticking to his slimmed-down model. It's a strategic, and maybe even personal, move to bring them into the fold in a controlled way. But this middle ground is anything but stable. It leaves them in a state of royal limbo, not quite in, but not quite out. They still have their HRH styles and their places in the line of succession, but their financial futures are tied to the very royal status that's now under threat. But their future isn't just up to King Charles. There's another huge figure whose opinion matters: their cousin and the future king, Prince William. While some reports say William and Kate have a perfectly fine relationship with the sisters, others paint a much cooler picture. Multiple sources claim the Prince and Princess of Wales aren't that close to Beatrice and Eugenie, and that the Epstein scandal only made things worse. Eugenie is known to be closer to Prince Harry, a fact that probably doesn't help her relationship with the Waleses. William is reportedly taking a very hard line to protect the institution he will one day lead. Some insiders even suggest that William was the driving force behind keeping them away from Ascot, telling other royals to keep the sisters at arm's length. According to one source, William and Kate find it hard to believe the York family was completely in the dark about Epstein's world. Whether that's true or just tabloid drama, it points to a powerful reality. Prince William is a pragmatist. He sees the unresolved issues around the Yorks as a major risk to the monarchy, and he's not likely to be swayed by the same sentimental affection his father feels. This leaves the princesses in an unbelievably precarious spot. They're stuck between a sympathetic uncle and a pragmatic heir. They are princesses by birth, but they aren't working royals and lost their taxpayer-funded security years ago. Their titles are safe for now, but their relevance isn't. They're trying to build their own careers, Beatrice in software and Eugenie in the art world, while their royal status is both their biggest asset and their greatest liability. So Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are caught in a royal catch-22. They're trapped between loyalty to their family and loyalty to the crown, all while trying to build a future out of the shadow of their parents' past. They're fighting for a place in an institution that's actively shrinking, one that might not have room for them anymore. This brings up a huge question. Is it fair to punish the children for the sins of the father? Or is this cold, calculated distance simply what the monarchy has to do to survive? What role, if any, do you think they should have in the royal family's future? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. The story of Beatrice and Eugenie is a quiet, slow-burn struggle for survival, happening on the world's most public stage. They're standing at the crossroads of royal tradition and intense public scrutiny, managing a legacy they never asked for. With King Charles trying to balance the demands of family and firm, and Prince William waiting in the wings with his own clear vision, the princesses are left in a state of suspended animation. They're holding onto their titles, their dignity, and their HRH styles, but their seat at the royal table is no longer guaranteed. They've been handed a lifeline with new patronages, but at the same time, they're being pushed to the sidelines. Their future is an unwritten chapter, and what happens next depends entirely on the priorities of a monarchy in the middle of its biggest shakeup in generations. For Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, being born a princess was the easy part. The real fight is for the right to remain one.